Hell hath no fury like a Darth Kennedy boar. At the recent Star Wars celebration, Lucasfilm announced a new slate of films and TV shows. There's the Ahsoka, Skeleton Crew, and the Acolyte shows, and then 3 new films, one of which will star Rey Palpatine. That's right, the Desert Skank is back, and as unwanted as ever. And who do we have to thank but none other than Darth Kennedy herself? I've got to give credit where credit's due. This is one hell of a troll. To bring back Disney's Star Wars' least loved character 5 years after you thoroughly ruined her, just to spite fans who don't even like Star Wars anymore. Bold, stunning, stupid, barely functioning retarded, but decisive. Darth Kennedy is over here like, yes, let the hate flow through you. I will use your hate to promote my films, and there's nothing you can do about it. That has to be the plan, because there's really no point in another Rey film. You told her story, and it was lacking. There's no need to go back. In fact, what was that thing that Emo Ren said? Forget the past. Kill it if you have to. I'm sure Rey doesn't have a pulse, but if she still does, get to snuffing. Now, I didn't talk about this when the film was announced, because I'd just be repeating what everyone else said. However, I did want to see what the Disney Star Wars coochie clutchers, fans, had to say about this, because they're who this is being made for. Take a guess at what their response has been. Go on. Guess. Damn right. They're happy but not happy, as usual. From Comic Book Resources, quote, bringing Rey back is a good thing, but rebuilding the Jedi Order is not. There's just no pleasing people like Emmett O'Regan. You get to have the terrible character you like so much, but you still have to shit on the franchise she's from. I don't understand how people can claim to be fans of something, but hate the very thing it's about. It's like you claiming that you're a metalhead, but you don't like all the gain and screaming. Then why are you here? Go somewhere else. Can't you be joyless by yourself? Why do we all have to join in? And after 8 years, I still don't understand why people claim to like Rey. This desperate attempt to pretend she isn't a terrible character isn't just sad, it's a mental disorder. Something has to be wrong with your brain to keep making this kind of argument. Quote, for all the ups and downs that came with the sequel trilogy, namely audience backlash and critical flip-flopping, Rey as a character has more than proved her bona fides as a worthy successor to Luke Skywalker as the face of the franchise. Continuing her story with all the baggage of the Skywalker saga in the rearview is a compelling direction to take the series. Next sentence. Bringing Rey back presents the opportunity to rectify the past and ultimately unsatisfying conclusion to her journey in the rise of Skywalker. I love when these people can't keep their BS straight. You just said Rey was a, quote, worthy successor. 53 words later, she sucks. Which is it? Is she the shit or just shit? You can't provide a satisfying conclusion to the Disney sequels because they killed off Han, Luke, and Kylo, Carrie Fisher and Peter Mayhew died, and Riri Johnson jacked up the plot so much that there was no way for J.J. Abrams to even try to fix it. Face the truth, Rey is a badly written character. She has no character arc, nothing of any substance or interest. How can you claim Rey's a worthy successor to Luke when she's less interesting than BB-8? The Jawas have more depth than her. So now the idea is to maybe give her something to work with, namely Luke's story from the Jedi Academy trilogy. From IGN's interview with Darth Kennedy, quote, well, we're 15 years out of the rise of Skywalker, so we're post-war, post-First Order, and the Jedi are in disarray, and there's a lot of discussion around who are the Jedi, what are they doing, what's the state of the galaxy, and she's attempting to rebuild the Jedi Order based on the books, based on what she promised to Luke. So that's where we're going. So literally the plot from the Jedi Academy trilogy. You know, those books that you claim didn't exist until you realized they did. By the way, I'm not kidding. Kathleen Kennedy once claimed that Disney had to make up their own stories because the 2 decades of expanding universe materials didn't exist, only to claim a few years later that Disney had so much to work with because of all the books and games. Like I said at the time,
I hated her so much. Flames on the side of my face, breathing, heaving breath.
Setting that aside, this would have been a perfect Star Wars story for Luke Skywalker. This is what most fans wanted to see, Luke recreating the Jedi Order. In fact, that was what Abrams hinted at in The Force Awakens, that we could get flashbacks of this, but we never got to see them because Riri Johnson wanted to subvert expectations, and Abrams had to spend the bulk of Rise of the Pretender fixing Riri's tardation. We were cheated, and now Kennedy wants to do it again by repurposing what should have been Luke's story for a character no one likes. But all that seems to go over the heads of people like Emmett, who seem to love Riri Johnson pissing all over Star Wars. As he says in the article, quote, "The compelling new directions and doorways opened by Johnson's film promptly got shut down in favor of cheap nostalgia baiting and connections to the past. The Last Jedi already argued for the retirement of the Jedi as audiences know them. And while The Rise of Skywalker ultimately rebuffed that notion, the upcoming sequel could and should retrain its focus on the open-ended potential for something entirely new. Bringing back the Jedi Order is, in a sense, continuing all that caused Abrams' final entry in the sequel series to fail, including a slavish dedication to the originals and risk-averse storytelling." Yeah, you know what? Give me your lightsaber. No, I know you got one. Give it to me. Give me your lightsaber, you lame-ass poser. And if I find you got Jedi Survivor, I'm gonna come and break your system so you can't play it. I don't care if you like Riri Johnson's Bantha Poodoo, but attacking the very thing that makes Star Wars, nah, you're done, son. No more Star Wars for you. Real Star Wars fans like the connection to the past. That's what made Star Wars a successful franchise. The lore is not just about this galaxy, but specifically about the Jedi, the Sith, and the Force. To remove that, to ignore that, strips away the thing that makes Star Wars unique. The regular stories you seem to want would make it just another space opera. The Force and the Jedi Order is what sets Star Wars apart. It's what defines the franchise. That doesn't mean that you can't or shouldn't explore the rest of the universe. Go ahead and explore the Mandalorians, or the pirates, or pick some species and have at it. There's nothing wrong with fleshing out the larger world, but never forget the reason why people are there, to see Jedi. Now, in fairness, Emmett concedes that point, but then adds, quote, "Why continue to retell the same stories to limit the Force and its users to old paradigms? Why not invent something entirely original on the well-established foundation of Star Wars lore?" They tried that with The Last Jedi and failed. It turns out that current Disney isn't good at coming up with entirely original ideas. They either won't hire the people with the talent, skill, and creativity to tell those stories, or they won't let the people they did hire do their jobs. I just did a video a few weeks ago talking about how much control Kathleen Kennedy wanted over Solo. It got to the point that she wanted multiple camera angles to be shot so that Disney could essentially change the story in post. That's madness. How can you have a writer or director's vision if you're waiting to alter their story after it's filmed? If you want different types of stories, like we got with the Old Republic stories, you have to let the directors and writers do their thing. Lucasfilm was very good at doing this for the expanded universe, allowing creators enough room to play without letting them stray too far away from the general premise of Star Wars. They understood that you could have all that exploration and still have Jedi stories. You don't have to pick just one, like Emmett says they should. Quote, "The Jedi can and should be left in the past, along with Luke Skywalker, Darth Vader, and Emperor Palpatine. Rey, the audiences, and the creative teams behind the upcoming project deserve new ideas and stories." Again, you can do both. Nobody's really looking for new shows with Rey. We're done with that character, but if you still want to make them, go ahead. But there's also nothing stopping anyone from exploring what Luke created before he decided to murder his nephew because he had a bad dream. He created a new Jedi Order. Where are they? What were they doing this whole time? How established was the New Order? All of these are perfectly fine concepts to explore, and you can have other stories about the Force that has nothing to do with the Jedi. The expanded universe was full of this. Emmett wraps up by saying, quote, "It's unclear what direction the sequel might take regarding Rey and the Jedi Order, but hopefully director Charmin Obaid-Chimoy, Lucasfilm, and Disney are willing to listen to the wise words spoken by one of their own creations, Kylo Ren, and realize that it is time to let old things die." Right. Is just some guy gonna have to force choke a bitch? I'm gonna have to get off this computer and choke. I mean, I'm not violent. I try not to be. You know what? I'm gonna let you slide. I'm still smiling ear to ear from hearing Miguel's voice on Picard, so I'm gonna let you slide. Thank Miguel Barrett. I know you don't know who that is because you're too busy posing to pretend to like more than one sci-fi franchise, but this is the first and last time I'm gonna let you slide. Next time, I'm gonna do you like Darth Vader did Black Actress. I ain't even gonna use the lightsaber. Anyway, Charmin Obaid-Chimoy has directed mostly documentaries. She did 3 animated kids films, a short, and 2 Ms. Marvel episodes. I have no idea why she was chosen to be the director for the new flagship film. Okay, technically that's not true. Her name kinda gives it away, although there are 2 possibilities. They either hired her because she's diverse, or because her name sounds like it's from Star Wars. Seriously, Charmin Obaid-Chimoy sounds like Jabba the Hutt and that Twi'lek had a love child. What? Yes, I know it's wrong. That's why I said it. But what do I know? I'm just some guy.